real quick, I want to do a fair use. Yeah, Barakatah Yahweh, Barakatah Yahweh Shai. I want to give all praises and all honor and all glory unto Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Racha HaKodash. Double honor to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who rule well and do well. To the elder apostles, bishops in Connecticut, the bishops, the preachers, the teachers, the evangelists, and the four winds preaching in truth and sincerity, risking your lives more now than ever, the hopeful elect, the elect. Shalom. To the Israelite foreigners whose phenotype may look like another nation, but bloodline goes back to Israel through your father and have come back to the fold. Shalom. To your sisters, your achwathim, who listen and learn under your husband, which is your spiritual leader, with meekness and with silence. This your brother Ram Yahawada with the lesson. And yeah. You're right, France is collapsing. Right? As you can see, as African countries kicked it out their land. Karma. Yeah, absolutely, man. Right? Because if there was ever, which there's really technically no such thing as karma, but people understand the ideology behind karma, right? Because really, ultimately, everything is of the Most High. But the Most High did say you will reap what you sow, right? So, and, being that we're in the time that the elect is being sealed, the Lord did say also that that these things are waxing away, right? So
what a time to be alive. If only you knew how powerful you were as a black person, they will not only respect you, they'll also bow at your feet. They are already afraid of you. That is why they're doing everything they can to make sure you don't recognize your power. The saga continues. What a time to be alive. If only you knew how powerful you were as a black person, they will not only respect you, they'll also bow at your feet. They are already afraid of you. That is why they're doing everything they can to make sure you don't recognize your power. The saga continues. France's downfall does not need to be studied because it's as easy as ABC. They are broke. They have fired their third prime minister within 1 year. Look at this photo. No matter how many prime ministers you fire, you will not be able to dig yourself out of this because you're poor, you're broke. Without Africa, you're nothing.
France is now ungovernable. You better believe it. France is now ungovernable. The country that actually made its money from bleeding black people, the country that forced Haiti to pay 150 billion for their freedom. And one of the reasons why Haiti is still in the situation it is right now is because of France. France, the country that bled Africa, making sure that the countries that it colonized basically had to pay a colonial tax for being colonized. That country, the country that one of the biggest slave traders in the world, that country has run out of money. They cannot afford to pay the pensions. They cannot afford the healthcare system. Literally, France is literally on the verge of economic collapse. And this is serious. France is in worse trouble than Greece was, except at the time the European Union was so powerful. At the time, but now the European Union was weakened by Brexit. The European Union has been weakened by Trump turning against them. So now the European Union, they're just running around like headless chickens. They cannot even bail France out. France is literally on the verge of collapse. And coming close after France is going to be the UK and and Germany.
Hi guys, welcome to yet another video. It's Ndagre here. Thanks for clicking. On today's video, I'm excited to share this news because this is exactly why we come on social media like myself and people like me that talk about these things, because it needs to be spread out. So apparently, the empire of France, or most empires of the Western nations, are literally collapsing. Because, ever since Western African countries or West African countries came up and they were like, you know what, we've had enough with being taken advantage of, especially when it comes to France, because it colonized them. And they were giving more to France than France was actually giving back to people of West Africa. So they were like, you know what, Burkina Faso, Senegal, Gabon, Niger, West African countries were like, we have had enough. And ever since they started pulling away and chasing the French or France away from their countries, everything has shifted. And we can clearly see how we come here and we say Africa is the reason why Western nations stand, and people are like, oh, Africans want to put themselves on the top or whatever. Without the Western nations, you guys cannot survive. But here we are, ever since West African countries chased away France from their, their policies from their country. We can clearly see what France is going through. It's collapsing. It's about to look like Greece, if not even more, because the Western nations, every day there's some chaos that is happening in that side. So it's really nice news for me that I really wanted to share with you, and what Africans are saying about this whole situation and what is going on really. Come back, let me know your thoughts on it.
I saw this a couple of weeks ago and I wanted to report it, but there's so much happening. But today when I saw that the Prime Minister had a motion of no confidence against him, I thought, well, this is perfect. So Macron, the French president, had sent a letter to French hospitals to tell them to prepare for war for next year. And that literally, it was covered internationally that France orders hospitals to prepare for major engagements by 2026. But France is broke. France is literally broke, and that's one of the reasons the French have a prime minister that lost a motion of no confidence, and they literally have fired its second prime minister in less than a year. I have a friend from France, and their politics is worse than ours. I guarantee you their politics is worse than ours. The only thing is that it's not as popularized as our politics. And I want to tell you this, the biggest reason that France is going broke is because of the African colonies. The African colonies have cut ties with France. Mali, Burkina Faso, Niger, Chad, and Senegal. They have cut ties with French, and that has had a huge impact on France. You'd remember that the French colonies would actually pay France a lot of money to be a colony. And this shift in decolonization move from the African colonies has cost France a lot of money. And that is why you saw the president child, because losing his mind and threatening the African colonies when they kicked him out in 2024 and then earlier this year. And it's about to get worse. And that's again why it's so important for Africa to cut ties with the West, because they literally cannot survive. I just did a video of Massmart losing billions of dollars in the US and now coming to Africa to invest. And the reason that they're losing billions of dollars in the US is because of the DEI rollouts. That means that they de-invested in people of color, minorities, the LGBTQ communities, and then they come to Africa so they can continue to make money off Africans, the same people that they marginalized in the US. We have to move away from the West. The West cannot survive without Africa. Case in point, France.
France did not see what is happening in West Africa coming. So they find themselves at a time when they are very weak economically. When at home, the population of immigrants is growing bigger and bigger. You go to cities such as Marseille, you find Algerians, you find Moroccans, you find Senegalese, you find Guineans, you find Burkinabe, and and things are not happening as they used to be then.
What's going on in Burkina Faso is a great example of how propaganda does not have to be false to be propaganda. I'm sure some of you remember a few years ago when Western news outlets were talking about the oppression of the LGBTQIA plus population in Palestine while they were bombing out of Palestine. Now white people are spreading stories about the oppression of the LGBTQIA plus community in Burkina Faso. Let me ask you something.
Yeah, so this is Habakkuk chapter 2, verse 5. Yea, also because he transgressed by wine, right? The democracy, ever since they, forever, the plebeian, patricians, now they're the Democrats, Republicans, they use their so-called treaties, talking peaceable, like the scripture says that there's, their words are smoother than butter, but war's in their heart, right? And it says, that's what they use. That's part of that wine, democracy, right? He is a proud man, neither a keeper at home, who enlarges his desire as hell meaning the grave, and is as death and cannot be satisfied, right? Because there's always going to be someone that dies on earth, right? On earth as it is in heaven? That's for the Israelites. The Israelites are not going to die. But you other nations are still going to die. So his desire is like as hell. It's never can be satisfied. It's never going to not exist unless he don't exist, right? Which is the Obadiah 1:18. That's where we're fastly approaching, right, and headed to, right? Cannot be satisfied, but he gathereth, right? Since he has the power right now, the earth is given into the hands of the wicked. He covered the face of the judges thereof. If not, who is he? Who's this guy who put this benign figure? Who's this Edomite savior who loves everybody? But this dude has been at war his whole existence, right? If it ain't war with other nations, they're at war with themselves, right? If it ain't war with themselves, they're at war with the people that they have in captivity underneath them, right? Things that they created, right? And all of a sudden, there was no drugs in America. All of a sudden, in the 60s, hit these drugs, and then from that point on, now you have to have a war on drugs. Everything's war, and now you have the Department of War, not a Department of Defense, and now you're saying Chicago's gonna know why it's called the Department of War, right? So war is always on your heart. So your desire is as hell, right? And cannot be satisfied, but gathereth unto him all people, and heapeth to him all nations, right? And especially dealing with that charagma, right? They have conquered the world, and now it's time to put the world in full submission under the Novus Ordo Seclorum through the MOTB, right? So this is Habakkuk chapter 2, verse 5, Amplified Version. Moreover, wine, right? The plebeian, patrician, the Democrat, Republican, selling you a freaking dream, the American dream, and basically it's a game that was set up for you to lose, right? Even you average everyday Edomites, it's not set up for you to actually win. It's to set you up, to give you an idea that you're winning because you can look down on someone, and for you that's you love it, right? That's why Trump said he loves poorly, uneducated, right, Edomites, basically, because you've been so far removed from actual rulership in yourself. You think just because you're ruling, or that you could say, "Hey, N-word, get in the back of the line, white man's," you think that means something, but where's the true power? Where's the true authority behind any of that? There's none, right? When you have power, you could shut down an airport, because you're flying in. You could shut down a whole hotel because you're about to stay in there, right? Hey, matter of fact, True Power is shutting down the whole world, telling them that allegedly a common cold, can is freaking Freddy Krueger, right? It's the boogeyman, right? That's power. Now you're talking power. But hey, who transgressive and betrays and the arrogant man, right, who transgresses and betrays. And yeah, you make all these treaties, you betray them. You betray your treaties. And then when you betray him because he's been over to rape, rob, and murder everybody, and no one's able to say nothing because, like I said, you have the papers, meaning the news articles, the news people, the media, right? And push forth your narrative throughout the earth more. And if like they say, if you say the same thing over and over again, it becomes the truth. And that's basically how they try to, to push it, right? And it says, and that makes them arrogant, right? We got the greatest military, but even though you've lost every war since the 60s, right? You lost every war you fought in. But you do got some great technology and things and advancements, but you still lost. Like, you still lose. And you're still going to lose, right? But the arrogancy so that he does not stay at home. And exactly, you lost but you still don't stay at home. You mean you spent 20 years in a war against the Taliban, and 20 years later, the Taliban is still running that entire city. They said in 1 week, the Taliban came back and took over the whole, in 1 week. A thing that took you 20 years, but you're the big bad. I mean, that's why Putin said he declared war on NATO, man. Nobody's afraid of you, right? But you're not a keeper at home, and keep another keeper at home, and his appetite is large like Sheol, which means the grave, right? Right, which is hell, which is the grave. And he is like death, right? Because people are going to die all the time, forever, basically, except for the Israelites. Once we keep the Israelites will never die again. But people are always going to die, and that's his desire until he get put out the way. Obadiah 1:18, right? And it says, he gathereth to himself all nations, and collects to himself all people, right? As if he owned them, right? And that's what he's doing. As he owns you, because he do. The earth is given into the hands of the wicked. He owns you, and he's going to prove that he owns the whole world. It's going to be another global lockdown, right? But as of now, what? Things is not going as planned, but then are they, right? Because you got to bring in the digital dollar, right? Shall not all these take up a parable against him? And seeing that's what these jakes are talking about. See, they're taking up a parable against him. They're laughing, and a taunting proverb against him, and say, "Woe," right? Which means judgment to him that increaseth that which is not his, right? Will all these victims, right? And everywhere this devil goes, these nations, these people, right? Even in Africa, all these things, they're victims, right? And see, that's what they're saying. They're happy. Yeah, France is collapsing, right? Which is a part of this whole system, right? They're all interconnected with Babylon, which is America, which soon that's coming to America. It's gonna fall, right? Victims of his what? Of his greed. Not take up a taunting song against him in mocking. See, that's what they were doing. In mocking derision. Yeah, derision against him, saying, woe, which means judgment, is coming to him who increaseth that which is not his. How long will he proceed? Oh shit. Possess it, right? And woe to him that maketh himself wealthy with loans, right? Putting everyone in debt, right? Right? And it says, taunting proverb against him, and say, woe to him that increaseth that which is not his. How long? And to him that layeth himself with thick clay, right? The Hebrew word clay is abatyat. And abatyat's clay says weight of a pledge. Pledge, when you go into the law, you basically you give someone like a family heirloom or whatever it is in order to buy yourself time as far as paying back something, or you get a loan or whatever. Basically, it's like a pawn shop, because I guess they even kind of give you that. See, pawn goods, right? So it's kind of similar, like, to give you kind of an understanding, like a pawn shop. Heavy debt, right? That's that thick clay. It's basically debt. And so basically they got wealthy off of giving out loans to everybody, which who do they give out loans to? Going back into the international bankers, they give loans to all these countries, right? The world banks. But if the World Bank that's giving out the loans is also collapsing, right? What's going to happen to the country? What's going to happen to the people? And then what's going to happen, which is ultimately going to happen, have a domino effect to all these countries and to all these different people, right? Right? So it's a total collapse of the system, that debt system. Let's see if it got something else a little bit. But it's just the pledge for a debt, right? Yeah, it's what a debt. Yeah, it's just basically it's debt. Yeah, so it's Jeremiah chapter 50, verse 8. Babylon is suddenly fallen and destroyed. Howl for her. Babylon is really America, but I'm just using it as reference because all these places are interconnected, especially being that the world reserve currency is the US dollar. And once the US dollar collapses, because even China, they're trying to dump off the dollar, but they're so interconnected with this dollar. When America collapses, you're going to collapse. You know what I'm saying? Japan too. You're so integrated and interwoven with the wickedness of America. You're going to have to collapse. You're going to collapse with it. So suddenly, yeah, Babylon is fallen and destroyed. How for her take balm, right? And balm is for like a ointment, right? For healing, right? It sanitizes, cleans it, kind of gives it like a covering too, right? Keeps it from getting infected, right? Healing for her pain, if so be she may be healed. So if you could basically stop the wound, the bleeding, or what do they say? Because basically it's another reference, because a leaking boat, you have to stop the boat from leaking, right? Like they said, this is like the Titanic, it's going down, right? Somehow you have to be able to go and fix the leaking boat, and you can't, especially when it's just pouring in too fast, right? It's going to be hard to heal this thing, to patch it up. We would have healed Babylon, but she cannot be healed. So it's so far gone, it can't be healed, right? Let us go, everyone to his own country. See, and that's what everybody's just going to do their own thing. They're not going to be dealing with America, which that's part of the thing of them doing the de-dollarization. They're trying to separate themselves from this place. But the whole thing is, when this place goes down, all of you countries are going to go down, right? For her judgment reacheth unto heaven and is lifted up even to the sky, right? Unto the Most High, right? Yeah, so this is Second Esdras, chapter 15, verse 43. It says, and they shall go steadfastly unto Babylon and make her afraid, which is talking about the missiles, right? The Lord's the end from the beginning, right? They shall come to her and besiege her, the stars, and all the wrath shall they pour out upon her, right? Which are the missiles, the ICBM missiles, the hypersonic and intercontinental ballistic missiles. Then shall the dust and smoke, right, which is the burning, go up unto heavens, right? See? And it says that her smell has went into heaven, right? See? Your sins has reached unto heaven, see? And that's ultimately going to be that sacrifice. It's going to be a lovely smell that you're finally going to be destroyed for all your wickedness. That America's finally going to be destroyed for all their wickedness. And all they that be about her shall be well, right? And that's really all you nations, because you made all this money. You have joint adventures and connections, right? You know, the fourth industrial system and everything, all this money and also the debt that China has bought and Japan has bought. And with this place going down and burning up, you know, you were looking forward to milking this place a lot more, because especially that's why you did it. You like, hey, look, I might as well buy the debt. I'm just gonna keep on selling you people a bunch of crappy things. It's gonna break, and then you're gonna rebuy it. And it's gonna break, and you're gonna rebuy it. And we're just gonna make you a perpetual slaves, especially since this place is already set up to just be consumers and not creators. It says they that remain under her shall do service unto them that have put her in fear, right? So, hey, it says, and thou, Asia, right, which is talking about Moab, right, which is Chinese, Ammon, which is the Japanese, that are partakers of her, partakers of the hope of Babylon, which is America, right, and art the glory of her person, right? Because you're the one who, like I said, you make all these little gadgets and this and that, the TVs, and make it cheap and this and that. So it makes it look like, damn, it really good. It's really good to be an American. We could buy a bunch of cheap food and all these other different things, and and also what the military, right? We go back to the 80s. China's the one who made these robots, right? Going back to, was it Honda? They had that robot and had Honda across. So this really, that was them pushing forth the ability to be able to fight against Yahweh Shai on his return. So you're basically part of that hope, Thus are the glory of her person, right? Because without you buying a lot of the debt, America probably would have been out of here. And now because you're part of that debt, you're intertwined. So when America falls, hey, that's going to hurt you very bad, right? Woe, which means judgment, be unto thee. So judgment's coming to you too, Moab and Ammon, which is the Japanese. So Chinese and the Japanese, Moab and Ammon. Woe be unto thee, thus wretch, because thus thou, it's like it has made thyself like unto her, and has decked thy daughters in whoredom, right? This democracy, this witchcraft, the pornography, the this and that, the Moism, all sorts of different things that you have indulged yourself in, right? And not to mention all these backdoor deals, right? You're in bed with them as far as making these deals, putting, not to mention, what is it, the crack area, the what do they call it? They call it China White, right? China White. You the one who shipped in a lot of cocaine over to America. Not to mention even the time of was it Heron? You shipped in a lot of opiates and things to America too. So you're a partaker of this, of that glory, right? Which is ultimately going to be shame, right? And it says, because that they might please the glory of thy lovers, right? So you really, hey man, let's do this because America's your lover. You wanted to please them. Let's give you the China White. Let's give you the opioids. Oh, you want to destroy them? Oh, we don't care about those so-called black people, right? We don't care about that. So you want to please your lover, which is America, the Edomites, which have always desired to commit whoredom with you, right? You did all y'all ever did was do backdoor deals, right? Trading cars and technology and this and that, and even to the point that they took all the factories from America to over there, and then now they got these big old, it's crazy. It says, thou hast followed her that is hated in all her works. See? So you followed her, but you didn't know that the Lord hates everything America's doing, right? And all her works and inventions. See? So you created a lot of, like I said, a lot of these drones, a lot of these things, the laser guns. You actually helped America create that because you intend on fighting Yahweh Shai with these Edomites, man. It says, therefore saith Yahweh, Bahashem Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Rakal Kadash, power, I will spread plagues upon thee, upon thee, widowhood, poverty, famine, sword, and pestilence, to waste thy houses with destruction and death, right? That's what's coming to America, but also to China, to Japan, and ultimately to the entire world. Right. So this is Revelation chapter 14, verse 8. It says, and there followed another angel saying, Babylon is fallen, that great city, right, which is talking about America, because she made all the nations to drink of the wine, right? See, those philosophies teaching you, oh, this is how you do this, and this is how you manipulate that, and this, and let's just wear these suits with these ties, and let's fly into outer space, right? Because really, who did that first? The Edomite flew into outer space, but then, so-called China, Japan's into flying into outer space. You're into doing all these different things. They showed you how to, like I said, cook cocaine and give it to your people, right? Which mostly will be the people who's of really are actually Israelites, but you call them Negroes, right? Right? Or Afro, right? Right? Afro Kuwaiti, Afro Afghanis, Afro Japanese, Afro Chinese. You knew to give these people drugs and try to destroy your people, which you're being a partaker of the ones who works the Lord hates, right? Not to mention the chip, not to mention the CV-19, the thing that shut down the whole world, which you're still pushing the CV-19, right? So you're behind all the hurtful works that's done, man. A lot of people died behind that CV-19, right? And you're part of it, right? And you're going to fall with it, this place, right? It's falling, and that great city, which she made all the nations drink of the wine of the wrath for fornication. See, and that's ultimately going to bring the wrath of God upon her, but upon you too, because you're with it. And the third angel followed them, saying with a loud voice, if any man worship the beast, right, which that fourth beast, the last beast that Daniel was speaking of, which was the Roman Greco Empire, right? And that's that beast that everybody's worshiping, even you, Moab, even you, Ammon, right? Because I'm pretty sure, like it's saying, you're partakers of her glory. You helped create the micro C hip. Guaranteed. You helped create the machines, the robot dogs, right? So I'm pretty sure you helped create the micro C hip, right? And that's that image, and worship the image of the beast. Yeah, worship the beast and his image, and received his mark and his received his mark in his forehead or in his hand, whether it's right hand or left hand. Doesn't matter where you received it at. You have received it, and Moab and Ammon is going to get that mark. The world is going to get that mark, right? Except for the elect. The elect, wherever they're at, is not gonna get it. But the bulk of the elect is here in America. The same shall drink of the wrath shall drink of the wine of the wrath of the power. See, you drunk their wine. Now you're gonna drink the Most High's wine. But his wine is gonna be wrath of the power. Yeah, the Most High Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, which is poured out without mixture into the cup of his indignation, and he shall be tormented with fire and brimstone. See, missiles are going to get shot on America, but guess what? Missiles are going to get shot on China. There's going to be race wars, riots, famine, death, pestilence. That's going to happen to China also. This is going to happen throughout the entire world. It's going to happen in Japan, because you are also a joiner of the glory of America, of Babylon. right? These things are all going to happen, which they're talking about Japan's financial system is about just as bad as France. So we might be rejoicing on Japan crumbling pretty soon, right? And it says, fire and brimstone in the presence of the holy angels and in the presence of the Lamb, which is Yahweh Shai, man. Right? This is because where Yahweh Shai going to be at? He's coming in the midst of all that. While you're fighting in World War III, the Lord's gonna come through, crack the clouds, stand right over Israel. It's going to be in his fathership. It's going to be so big, no one's ever going to miss it. The whole world's going to be able to acknowledge that there is the Son of God, and he has made his second coming. Right? So this is Revelation chapter 18, verse 3. For all the nations have drunk of the wine of the wrath of her fornication. Right? So you're all going to drink it, man. You're going to get the wrath, man. Right? You're not going to escape. Because really that's what a lot of you doing. You're backpedaling. Oh, we're going to do desolarization. We're going to try to separate ourselves from her. Right? But that ain't going to be good enough. Right? And it says, the wrath of her fornication, and the kings of the earth have committed fornication with her, right? Right? You made all them backdoor deals. You're in bed with her, right? You made them deals. Right? You didn't create the MOT be with her. You created the laser beams with her. You didn't created things to try to destroy Jake with her, right? The Israelites with her. Hey, no, you're joint. You are made yourself like unto her. The same. So the same judgment that's meant for Edomite is actually finna come upon you. Right? It says they made fornications with her, and the merchants, right? Because that's what Japan is, and China is definitely major, is the merchant, right? Of the earth are wax rich, right? And China has become like the richest nation in the world because of this, right? Through the abundance of her delicacy, right? Because now this is just a consumer nation. They want to just live delicately. Everybody wants to be a king, right? So to speak. Everybody want to live royal, right? They want to live this this luxurious life. So, you know what I mean? And says, and I heard another voice from heaven saying, come out of her, my people, which is the elect, coming out of America. Because the bulk of really, salvation is about a pending doom. And there's definitely a pending doom coming to America, man. So we're definitely going to have to be saved. And of course, there's elect everywhere. So the Lord's going to go around the world, bringing up the elect. But hey, this is very important for us to come up out of her, right? Which means to go into that chariot, because what missiles are going to hit this place? Hypersonic ICBM missiles. So come out of her, my people, that ye be not partakers. See, now we ain't going to be a partaker of her sins, that ye receive not her plagues, which is those missiles, man. For her sins have reached unto heaven, and the power the Most High, Yahweh Bahasham Yahweh Shai, hath remembered her iniquities. Reward her even as she has rewarded you, and double unto her according to her works, and in the cup which she fill to her double. Right? So she gave, went around the world, rape, rob, murdering, destroying, killing, having no mercy, no pity. Right? So that's the thing that has to happen to this Edomite, to this system, to everything that they are, man. So now that's why the Lord said that everyone who bit at the bow, shoot at her and spare no arrows, man. And that's what's about to happen, man. Have no mercy, no pity, right? You're gonna shoot arrows at this place, man, and have no pity upon it, right? Matter of fact, let me get that, because yeah. So this is Revelation chapter 17, verse 15, and he saith unto me, the waters which thou seest, where the whore sitteth, are people, right? See, and that's this devil. He's about to push the MOTB, right? His image, and the whole world is gonna get his image, whether you Chinese or Japanese, it don't matter, right? Even in Russia, they most likely people they're gonna be getting it. They're gonna be getting the micro C hip. They're gonna get the MOTB, man, right? It says it's gonna try the world. So I mean, hey, but when it comes down to it, the Lord's gonna have things happening, right? Where the whore setteth on are people, right? And the multitudes of nations and tongues through the Charagma, right? They're gonna have everybody chipped, except for, like I said, except for the elect. They're gonna have everybody micro C hip, and the 10 horns, right? Which is dealing with NATO, which thou sawest upon the beast, these shall hate the whore, right? So pretty soon the rest of the world, they're gonna realize, damn, you told us that God wasn't gonna ever return. Your pseudoscience told us that we were gonna be able to give the drugs. Because we had the French connection. Let's not forget about the French connection with the cocaine and the drugs, and like I said, the China white, the French connections, and this and this and that. We just had to drug them up. They'll never remember who they are, right? This is just a fad. It's just gonna play out. Don't worry about it. It's not a big deal, right? Let's create the internet so we can make psychological psyops, and we'll just keep them all busy with sports and bread and circus, basically, and they'll never wake up, and we'll just keep ruling the world, right? And now they're gonna be upset. They're gonna be upset with the whore. They're upset now, right? So, and these shall what? Hate the whore, and shall make her desolate and naked, and shall eat her flesh, and burn her with fire, which is talking about the ICBM missiles, man. They're gonna shoot missiles on this place, right? Yeah, so this is Jeremiah chapter 51, verse 48. Then the heaven and the earth and all that is therein shall sing for Babylon, which is America, right, the daughter of Babylon, for the spoiler, right, means to take, to rob, to plunder, right, shall come, right, which is the ICBM missiles, come unto her from the north, which means Russia, right, the Meeks, Russia, saith Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem Rakakadash, as Babylon has caused the slain of Yasha'Allah to fall, right, you have called, so-called Black, Hispanic, and Native Indians to fall, so at Babylon shall fall the slain of the earth. So, whoo, hey, America's going to get taken out, man. Now it's going to fall. Babylon is falling, man. Right? Yea, all ye that have escaped the sword, right, which be the elect, shall go away, stand not still, remember Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem Rakakadash, afar off, and let Jerusalem come into your mind, right? We're going to have a remembrance. Remember who we are, and that's where we're at, man. We're remembering who we are, declaring the end, right? And Esau, this nation, which is not really a nation, it's a corporation, spiritually known as Sodom, Egypt, right? Assyria, ultimately Babylon has fallen, right along with Moab, which is the Chinese, and Ammon, which is the Japanese, and really all you nations are going to fall, right? Right? You're all going to go into submission and slavery under Yahweh Shai, King David, the rest of the 144,000 and the elect of the nation of Yasha'Allah. So with all that, I want to give all praises and all honor and all glory unto Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem, Rakha HaKodash. Double honor to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who rule well and do well. To the elder apostles, bishops in Connecticut, the bishops, the preachers, the teachers, the evangelists, and the four winds, preaching in truth and sincerity, risking your lives more now than ever, the hopeful elect, the elect, Shalom. To the Israelite foreigners who phenotype may look like another nation, but bloodline goes back to Israel through your father and have come back to the fold. Shalom. To you sisters, you Akhwathium, who listen and learn under your husband, which is your spiritual leader, with meekness and with silence, and a Baba Ball and Kwam Yasharallah.